everyone, and welcome to Burn the Ship, the podcast that helps entrepreneurs go all in on their business, and we introduce them to professionals that can help them to do so. Today, we have a very special guest. Hami, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thanks. How are
I'm
you?
doing very well, thanks. Please introduce yourself and the name of your business.
Yeah, so I'm Hami Vo Arrington, and my business is One Foot Over. We are a marketing agency, and we serve B2B tech companies and industrial manufacturing companies.
Awesome. I'm so looking forward to learning more about your business and how you're helping those B2B companies. But before that, I want to learn a little bit more about your journey. And I understand that time is one of our most valuable resources. So let's jump into it. Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so I have always loved marketing.
Hmm.
It's really just in my bones. My family had a marketing agency when I was growing up, and so it's really something that I have always known.
Hmm.
This is the question that comes up a lot, where it's like, when did you really fall in love with marketing? Why do you like it? And I always tell this story because I think it's fairly unusual. So my mom was a single mom when I was growing up, and she was also going to school to get her psychology degree. And when I was like maybe 7, 8, 9, somewhere around there, she would take me to her classes every once in a while. And one of the classes that she took me to, which was really left an impression on me, was her psychology class. And we would sit there and I would listen to the professor, and it was just so fascinating, even at that age, just really kind of learning that, oh wow, there's something in people's brains, and you can really understand it and understand how people work. Not only that, you can also influence how they work, and you can also influence yourself. So I remember in particular, during one class, the professor said, if you really want to influence your dreams, studies show you really can do that. What you need to do is, before you go to bed, just start thinking about the thing that you want to maybe work through, or you want to dream about, or whatever that might be. And then your brain will think about it when you're sleeping. And that was just so eye-opening to me, to understand that and hear that. And that's really where I fell in love with it, right? With that psychology piece of it. And then when my family, when we did have the marketing agency, that's when I was like, oh, there's like a business side to this too. And so that's really when I was like, oh, this is really cool. This is really, right up my alley, to really understand people, and react to them, kind of influence them, change their behaviors, which is at the end of the day what marketing is.
Hmm.
So I went to school and wanted to do marketing. Well, I was trying to figure it out, but I ended up saying, oh, I want to do marketing. Ended up working with my family's agency for a little while.
Hmm.
It was in automotive. So I was like, I don't think that this is really for me long term. So then I decided to go back to school and get my master's degree to do like a realignment, still stay in marketing, but do a realignment. And that's really when I found B2B marketing, and really fell in love with that. Um, Once I got my degree, I moved to Houston from Atlanta,
Hmm.
and I worked for a couple of places. The second place I worked was an agency, and I was like, I I think I could do this.
Okay.
And full disclosure, I was not a very good employee. I was not very good with following directions. I always had some kind of twist that I wanted to put on something,
Hmm.
and so I said, you know what, I really want to start my own agency, and then I did, and I was part of the American Marketing Association here in Houston. And I met a man of his name is Stephen Brent May. We worked on a an award show together. We worked really well together. We had a lot of fun. And I said, "Hey, Stephen, do you want to start an agency together?"
Hmm.
And he was like, "Yeah, let's do it."
Okay.
And so that was in 2017. So that was 8 years ago. We
Hmm.
started One Foot Over, and really haven't looked back since.
Awesome. Awesome. I definitely appreciate you sharing that journey. I do want to unpack it just a little bit because I think there's a couple things that correlate on how you have been successful. Now, the psychology aspect of things, with you using that to learn about your clients and what their motivations are and what they're trying to get accomplished, how did that tie together for you, and how do you utilize that inside of the business?
Yeah, so I would credit a lot of the marketing success that we've had to really understanding our clients' customers. This is what we advocate for every project and every client that we take on. We really want to understand who their customer is inside and out, what their motivations are, we say pain points. It's not really pain points, right? It's really, you want to understand like what problems they have and how does our customer solve, how does our client solve those problems? And that's really the basis of marketing, is understanding that. And then all of your marketing messages, you can definitely hit those, right, and it resonates with your audience, whoever you're trying to talk to.
Now, for yourself, you have been surrounded by entrepreneurship. The moment you came out, your family already owned a business, and that's what you saw. But you did decide to go and work for a couple agencies on your own after you finished your master's degree. But things were coming along, y'all working on that award show. Was it a specific event that happened that made you say, you know what? I'm going to burn the ship and go all in on my own business. Was there a specific event that happened that made you change?
I don't know if there was really one specific thing that happened. It was just a series of things. And I saw how other people were running their business and the decisions that they were making. And I was like, this can be improved greatly. And I wasn't, I didn't have enough social capital or position in the company to say, okay, I really think you need to change this. And so that's really what the catalyst was. I mean, I really just thought, I can do this better. I've
Mm-hmm.
seen it done better. I've seen other mistakes that people have made. I think that I think I could do this. I believe in myself and my abilities.
Awesome. Awesome. Now we want to learn about your business. And I know it's a B2B marketing agency, but I want you to tell us everything about it. Tell us the benefits of working with you, your ideal clients, what you're offering. Tell us all the stuff.
Yeah, so let's start with our ideal clients. We say that we work with B2B companies that are in the tech space and industrial manufacturing. A lot of that is because we're located in Houston, and so that's our network. We do work with international companies that are not based in Houston, but they have an office here. So we do work internationally as well. But what's really important to note is whenever we do work with a company, their buying cycle is very long.
Mm-hmm.
It's we had it could be anywhere from 18 months to we have one client where their buying cycle is 10 years,
Oh my
which is
goodness.
wild, right?
Whoa.
Not only that, it's a complicated buying process. Because there's a committee that buys, not necessarily an official committee, but
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of people that are part of that buying process, right? So in B2B sales, there's usually between 5 and 7 people in a buying process. A lot of times there's even more, right? Because sometimes maybe it's an enterprise SaaS product. Then you're having to think about all the people that are using it
Mm-hmm.
uh, as well, all of the users there. And so, and you have to, incorporate in the tech aspect, the IT people, the people that are looking at the reports for it, and it really is it's just very complicated. And how do you really manage that process? You have to think about everybody who's in that process. When do they come into the buying process?
Mm-hmm.
When do you need to send those messages at the right time? What if you had the conversation today and they're not ready to buy for another 2 years? How do you keep on top of it?
Mm-hmm.
And how do you keep top of mind? Because between now and 24 months from now, they would have gotten 4,000 messages from 10 different people.
Mm-hmm.
And so really keeping top of mind. And one of the ways that you keep top of mind is you really the marketing messages you send are resonating, right? And how do we get to that resonating? You understand what their problems are. Our goal is when we create content and create marketing for our clients is when their audience sees it, they're saying, oh my gosh, have you been in my office?
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe that you are saying this, and this is really something I was just talking about to Bill the other day, right? That is really the holy grail. Additionally, I have a specific example. There's one client of ours where we did some persona work, and part of our persona work is interviewing real customers, real customers and real people that did not buy from them as well.
Hmm.
Uh, and that's really important to get those two audiences to really understand what their motivations were, why did they come to them, and what resonates with them. And I know this word resonate keeps on coming up, but that is really the most important word. When we talk to them, in this specific instance, what came out of it was that we determined that in this audience, and they're in oil and gas,
Hmm.
their audience did not like marketers.
Oh, okay.
They Right. They thought all marketers were liars. So everything, everything that was put out by the marketing department was a lie.
Hmm.
And it's spun to be, is something that just untrue, and it's just spun to be something that they were that to the advantage of the company. But what they did do, though, what did also come out is that they trusted the salespeople, which I think is super interesting,
Hmm.
because I would say that if you really pull back and you look at all B2B buying,
Hmm.
most people would say that I don't like salespeople.
Right, 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 right.
I think about like car salesmen.
Hmm.
You're like, I
Hmm.
don't, and nothing against car salesmen, but a lot of people don't like them.
That's right. I get it.
Yeah. And so that was really interesting. And so when we built this marketing plan and built all the marketing out for them, we said, okay, so if they don't trust marketers, they trust the salespeople. The salespeople, though, are terrible marketers, right? I mean, behind the scenes, we know that.
Hmm.
So what if we created all of our content and all of the marketing to look a little bit less sophisticated? So it looks like maybe a sales guy put it together on like PowerPoint
Right.
and put it out there.
Yeah, yeah.
So, so in that case, we really knew what really the customer, what their actual psyche was, and understood that. And so we really saw a lot of success with that campaign and all of their marketing, because we were able to identify that one little random thing that you never would know unless you actually did interviews with your customers.
Yeah, it seems like that 7 year old. When you were 7 years old and you went to that psychology class, it really is picking up now, because that is opposite of what a lot of businesses, are looking at. The marketing is such a huge part and just as an assist for their sales. But in this one, it was a little bit different. But that shows and illustrates that your company actually takes the time to look into the client instead of you just forcing on top of them what way you think would be best. It was a good illustration of how you integrate them into that marketing process.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that this is also a thing that I preach all the time. I mean, you hear it all the time. It's like, we at 1 foot over
Hmm. Right.
do this. And
Hmm.
when you say that, when you say we at 1 foot over, at 1 foot over,
Hmm.
that makes us the hero of the story,
Hmm.
right? And your customer or your potential customer literally does not care about you. That is a hard pill to swallow,
That's
but
right.
they won't. They
Hmm.
only care about themselves. And so then how do you deal with that? You need to be understanding of what their problems are and how you can help them, and tell them how you can help them, because they don't care.
Yes.
They don't care how amazing you are. They don't care how amazing you are.
That's right. That is a fact. That is a fact. Now, you also brought up something that is very important that I try to talk with my team about is follow up. Now, I know there are multiple touch points that are out there. Tell me, what have you seen to be the most successful follow up touch point? Is it email? Is it text? Is it me walking in the door? What have you seen to be the most successful?
Yeah, so as far as marketing goes, because we're B2B, we don't really use we really use texting.
Hmm.
I mean, we've talked about it in the past, but then because of the audiences that we deal with, it always feels like maybe that it's a little bit too personal, right?
Okay.
That's not to say a salesperson couldn't text this person directly once there is a relationship that's been built.
Hmm.
But I would say that, if you have somebody that is already that's already engaged with you in the audiences that we work with, email is usually best.
Okay.
Just because they've already given you permission to say, okay, yes, you can market to me. And I'll say that with a caveat too. It depends on the audience that we work with. One of the things that we look at is, okay, if we do email them, are they going to be an audience that resonates with a marketing email, because it does feel impersonal,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So a lot of times we look at it, one of the decisions that we make whenever we do implement a campaign, we're talking about, the full campaign, is in this audience, are we going to send these designed emails with these beautiful graphics? Or do we need to send an email that looks like it's an email coming from somebody's email box?
Okay.
Uh, and so I would say that a lot of times, especially in B2B, industrial manufacturing, if it's like a less sophisticated audience, I'm going to take that back. That it actually doesn't matter if it's more sophisticated or less sophisticated.
Hmm.
If it looks like it's from somebody's email, it's like a genuine email,
Hmm.
then it does resonate with them more, a lot of times. But again, if you have in each of the campaigns that we run, it just depends on what the needs are for that campaign.
Yeah, I know that it's an answer where it all depends because if I got a sales cycle of 2 days in comparison to a sales cycle of 2 years and then 10 years, it will be different. But to the audience that is watching, I want to just ask that so you can get them a small snippet on how they can possibly contact that person a little bit better, especially if it is in that B2B scenario. Now, as we know in 2025, there is a hot topic out there, and that hot topic, especially when it comes to marketing, is your AI and how it's assisting you. Can you explain a little bit if you guys are utilizing that? How does that help to solidify what you guys are doing? What are your thoughts on AI in your marketing?
Yeah, so it is essential in our marketing, right? We use it all day, every day, but we don't use it like it's 2023. We use it like it's 2025.
Mm-hmm.
We have definitely evolved. At first it was just creating content and maybe creating ideas or doing some brainstorming, but now it's like the word that comes up a lot is co-pilot. It's actually somebody. So I use ChatGPT and Gemini. Those are my two favorite LLMs.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a Kohami.
Okay.
So
Okay. Okay.
there's a ChatGPT that's a
Oh
Kohami,
my
so that
goodness.
it. I talk to it a lot, and I bounce ideas off of this custom GPT, and it really knows how I think and challenges me in the way that I need it to challenge me. And so I've really trained it really well. My whole instance of ChatGPT is that way, but I have a specific custom GPT that is mine.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's interesting because actually this morning I saw in one of the groups that I'm in, somebody had posted, another agency owner had posted and said that they had a client that came to them and said that they don't want any of their work being done with AI.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. Okay.
Right.
That's
And so
different.
yes, exactly. And that debate, it turned into a debate that was that started because of that one comment. And it's like, well, my big takeaway was, okay, if anybody were to come to us with that request of nothing gets put on AI, then okay, that's fine. We can do that for sure. But what's going to happen is we're going to have to raise our rates
Mm-hmm.
for you
Mm-hmm.
because everything's going to take a lot longer to create, and think through. I think that what's important to know, and this is my platform to get my soapbox for a minute.
Oh yeah.
There's something that's happening. I'm hearing about it called the slop apocalypse.
Smart. Okay.
Slop apocalypse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me about
And
it.
yeah, and so what's happening is there's a lot of people that are using AI. I mean, everybody is using AI, especially for marketing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're one of the industries that has been affected the most, positive and negative. So what's happening is a person who's maybe a junior marketer that doesn't have the experience, doesn't have that taste level to understand what good marketing looks like. And when I say good marketing, I mean something that works, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something that gets you to your goal, moves you closer to your goal.
All right.
What happens is they put something into ChatGPT, Gemini, whatever, Claude, and it spits it out, and then it sounds good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's grammatically good, good enough.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds professional, and then they put it out there into the world. And then what's going to happen is they're going to put it out there, they're going to run campaigns on it, and it's just not going to be good. I mean,
Right.
it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to say, oh my gosh, I don't know what's happening. We're in the middle of that right now where people are putting things out. They don't understand if it's working or not
Okay. Okay.
yet.
Okay.
And so that's where you do need a marketer in there who has a bit of experience to understand what looks good and what looks not so good.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I wanted to get your take on it because even with what we do, I utilize it a lot more than what I did back in the past when I was trying to create that fancy email and I would throw my ideas on there and it'll pick it up. Now it is assisting with reports and it's assisting with all types of things. And that debate is interesting on that chat board because it's almost like if you want to change the tire, you would use the proper tool. I wouldn't try to use just some rubber gloves to release that lug nut. I would actually use the tire iron. And that's what AI is. It's a up-to-date tool, and you want to use the best tool to get the problem solved. That's interesting that they say they didn't want to have the best tools that you could possibly use in that system.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, honestly, if somebody did come to me though and said they don't want to use it, I would say, well, I would say that we're not the agency for you
Okay.
because we've been working in it for a long time and we know how to use it. And then, what we create is it's our work. It's just the assistance of AI.
Yeah, just using your tools. Now, you talked about your ideal clients. Another thing that I always like to talk to the guest about are those referral partners. Because do we want to find you that company that just needs that B2B assistance? Yes. But we also want to try to connect you with those industries that can bring you opportunities. Have you guys found a specific industry that brings you opportunities that I can connect you with?
Yeah, so it's really interesting, this question, because, I think back about the best referrals that I've ever gotten, and we've ever gotten, and the ones that, produced good relationships. And it's really other marketers and other agencies,
Okay.
which I think is so
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah.
A lot of times, somebody will, because, well, let me back up. So agencies are all very specialized in what we do and who we serve, because it is complicated, right? There are a few agencies out there that I would call generalists, but I would say most agencies specialize in a specific area, in a specific industry that's their niche. And so what we found is other agencies who might get a referral, or they might be talking to a prospect and they're like, this really isn't the right fit for us because we are B2C, or we don't work in industrial manufacturing, or whatever that might be, or we work in SaaS, or we don't work in enterprise SaaS, we work in SaaS. Then those are really great referral partners for us. And I think that that's an interesting answer, because I think that if you weren't part of the industry, you would say, well, I mean, why would you want to know your competitors?
Right.
That doesn't make any sense. But for us, we feel like you need to be friends with all the other agencies because I know times are a little bit tougher this year, but we've always lived with the idea of there's enough business out there for everybody, right? For all the good agencies anyway, there's enough business out there for everybody. And so let's understand who we serve and how we serve them, and then refer them out as needed and as necessary.
Yeah, that's excellent. I appreciate you sharing that. The way that I summed that up, what you just said in the office, is it's collaboration over competition, because even with us in our industry, there's plenty of people who offer the same business solution that we do, but they may not do it in the same form or fashion, or they may just not want that particular client. And if I said, oh, you're a competitor, don't talk to me, I hate you, then I missed out on an opportunity. And, it's something that can help. So thank you so much for sharing that. And to those different marketing agencies that are watching today, make sure to reach out to her, because she may be able to help you with that client, which could help you in the future as well. So I definitely appreciate you sharing that. All right. So now I definitely appreciate you sharing about the business and, how you're helping. I do want to ask a little bit about those best practices that you have implemented over time to help you to be successful. Do you have a couple of best practices that you can share with the audience that has helped you to be successful?
Yeah, for sure. So really a couple of things. Number one is I do a lot of exercising.
Okay.
It's incredibly important for me. I work in an industry that's it's very stressful on the day-to-day basis, right? We're working with clients, we're trying to get business, we have employees. It is very stressful in general. And so I find that exercise like regular exercise so that I can work those out. And so I used to be a marathon runner.
Okay.
This is where I really learned this. I can't do that anymore because I had some knee issues, but now I do cycling, a lot of indoor cycling. And so what I did was when I was younger, when I was doing those runs, where I really learned what I really learned and trained myself to do is again the psychology piece, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can control your own brain and how you react to things. I would enter a run very intentionally.
Mm-hmm.
So being intentional when I go into that run and say, I've got this problem I need to work out, and I just really need to work through it. And then the running, the running is what it is. But that's really a time for me to really clear my brain. And I would say that 99% of the time when was done with the run, that's when I really was clear about the issue. And so I've really carried that throughout my career. So that's number one. That's like on a personal side. On the external side, what I would say is be helpful. I
Okay.
mean, this is, you really just need to be helpful to people, because what's going to happen is when you're helpful to people, when somebody asks for your help or has a question for you,
Mm-hmm.
I would say yes. I would say, yeah, let's jump on a quick call and tell me what's going on, and I can maybe point you in the right direction. Sometimes we can help them, our own agency, but a lot of times we are not the right fit. Or maybe it's even a business problem. Really just offering that help, because you just never know. Especially in our industry, it's interesting because people generally only know one or two marketing agencies within their orbit, unless they're actually in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is they'll say, "Hey, I'm looking for an agency, or I'm looking for somebody to help me with my marketing. Do you know anybody?" And I want to be one of those one or two people that comes to mind
Mm-hmm.
whenever that question comes up. And you just really never know. These what is the saying? Careers are short, but they are deep.
Okay. Okay.
So you just never know when that favor that you've done, the giving back that you've done will come back to you. And so I would say that helping people is really a core tenet of ours. We really always want to do the right thing and point people in the right direction.
Definitely appreciate you sharing that, because I really like that health part of it, because if you're not taking care of yourself, you're really not going to be able to take care of others. And that's important that you're sharing, that you're still staying on top of your health, because sometimes people start working on their business and it just goes away, talking about their health wise. And it's important for you to stay on top of it, because you can't operate at peak performance, if you're not in a healthy state. So I definitely appreciate you sharing that with us. Now, we've talked a lot about your journey, about your psychology classes at 7. We talked about your opportunities to work on award shows and for the other agencies, and we've talked about your business. But now I want to talk about you. I want to talk about you and some of those things that you do outside of the marketing agency. So let's just say that all of the B2B clients you have, it's come along great. Time and money is not an issue. What is it that you would do with your time?
Oh gosh. Okay, so I do have a passion for travel.
Okay.
Really, it's not, it's the traveling part, but really, what is it about travel, right? The thing that I really, really love about it is experiencing new things.
Mm-hmm.
I also love food a lot, and those kind of go hand in hand. And really I just want to live life, right? And for me, living life is going out and experiencing all the things.
Mm-hmm.
There was a time in my life where I said no to a lot of things, but now in this point of my life, I usually say yes,
Okay.
because I want to experience the things. If I wasn't doing what I'm doing now, this is what I always say is I would probably be leading. I would probably be a tour guide in Italy
Okay.
or
Okay.
somewhere like that,
Okay. Okay.
so
Okay.
that I can also provide that experience for other people too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's it. That would my alternate career. That's
Yeah.
what I would.
That leans back to like that best practice you were sharing as far as helping, even on your free time, doing whatever you want to do, you're still going to be helping others. So that goes to letting people know how helpful you're going to be when they work with you. So, and talking about that help, what is the best way for people to get in contact with you if they do have questions about marketing or your story, or how you can help them?
Yeah, so actually, I'd like to plug something.
Okay.
We just recently launched a podcast of our own. It's called the B2B Happy Hour.
Okay.
So if you look at B2B Happy Hour, you'll find us. It's under the B2B Marketers. Or if you follow Get One Foot Over on really all of the channels, you can also find it too.
Hmm.
To get in touch with me on all of the social media channels, you can find me at Hami Arrington. And I won't tell you which specific channel because whatever channel you're on, I'm probably there. So send me a message anywhere.
Yeah, say, look, if you want to find me, it ain't that hard to find. I'm a marketer. I'm in all the places.
Exactly.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, and we appreciate you coming on the show today. We understand for our guests, it's not always easy to share the ups, downs, all arounds, and we honor our guests by giving them the last word. So please look into the camera and tell the people something good.
Yeah. So, life is hard. It's hard. It's scary. A lot of people uh, they they get, they aren't able to move forward on things because they're scared and they're frightened and fearful. And one thing I always think about is like, what is really on the other side of fear? And that's nothing, right?
Hmm.
There's really nothing on the other side of fear. That's not to say that I'm not ever afraid or I'm not ever nervous or anxious. And so, what I always go back to is this one quote by C.S. Lewis, and that's courage, dear heart. And I actually have it on a bracelet, actually right here, engraved on
Nice.
the inside of this bracelet, Courage, Dear Heart. And it's a reminder for me to say, you know what? It's here. The fear is there, but you can move forward. Just move forward and it'll be fine.
Awesome.
So I
That
would say that's what my last word for you.
that is awesome because you just can't stop. You have to keep going. You can't be afraid. You can't be afraid of that unknown because it could be nothing on the other side, just like you shared. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on the show today and sharing.
Yeah, Roderick, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome, awesome. And to everyone that is watching, be kind and thanks.